Hello everyone, this is Georgiana from Romanian Thrills and welcome all of you to a new free virtual tours from us. We are going to start the meeting in just a few minutes while we wait for some more people to join us. And I would love to know where everyone is from. If you've seen us before, if you've participated to our other virtual tours, do comment in chat. My co-partner today in managing this Zoom meeting is Vlad, so he will be answering to all of you any questions, or if you have any anything that you'd like to share with us, he will be the one taking care of the chat. A few housekeeping rules. Everyone comes in muted and with their video turned off. Of course, you are free to share your video if you want to. I would love to see your faces and to get to know all of you. And at the end, when we have our Q&A live session, you'll be able to unmute yourself as you want. One thing that I would like you to tell me, I am sharing some music, so if the music is too loud, please do let me know if I need to turn it down a little bit. Okay. Okay. Music is okay here in Washington. So good to see you, Anise. I know you've participated to our virtual tours in the past, so thank you so much for your support. Okay, so I will keep the music like this for now. This particular song has some lyrics, but most of them are instrumental. And let's start our virtual tour, Untouched Romania tour. So for those of you that see us for the first time, my name is Georgiana and I'm a tour guide and co-founder of Romanian Thrills. It's a boutique travel company that I have founded together with Vlad, who is my partner. And if you've participated into our virtual tour at the end of February, he's the one that did the Discover Romania tour as well. You all know we've been through a pandemic. The situation has not been great for tourism, to put it mildly. And we've come up with this free virtual tours as a way to engage people and to stimulate their curiosity about Romania. We want to put Romania in people's minds on their travel bucket list. And this is why we do what we do. We have also done some interactive virtual tours as well, which are in-person guided tours through some important destinations in Romania. And you can find those on our website. And every month we are meeting you here live with another tour and with a live Q&A. So for today, I would like to share with you one of our one of my favorite group tour itinerary that we do here in Romania. And that's because it visits places that people don't expect to see in Romania. So a lot of you may confuse or may know Romania only through Transylvania, but there's so much more to Romania than Transylvania. And that's why we've decided to call this tour Untouched, because it focuses on on lesser known regions. Not only that, this tour has also been the skeleton of the itinerary that we've done with the YouTubers from Flying the Nest when they came in Romania back in 2019. Their series is on YouTube. It was highly successful. Maybe some of you know us through them. And Vlad is going to share the link to their videos if you haven't seen them before. And yeah, this tour that they've done showcases Romania that not even Romanians get to see. So let's see, this Untouched Romania, as I said, it's also a physical group tour. So this virtual tour is our way to showcase what a tour with Romanian Thrills look like, what type of accommodation we stay in, what type of activities we engage in, and just overall our approach towards tourism. We prefer authentic tourism, slow travel, and we just want people to fall in love with Romania. We don't want it to be forgettable, but rather a journey of a lifetime. So this itinerary has in total 11 days, and your first day is naturally going to be arrival in Bucharest. Day 2, we leave Bucharest and we go towards Horezu and Măldărești. We're going to talk about all these locations later, if you don't know what they are. Day 3, we're going to Transalpina, which is a very high road, important road in Romania, and 𝗏𝗏, which we're going to have a very, very interesting activity. Day 4, we're going towards Cherna Valley and 𝗃𝗵𝗵𝗁𝗏. Day 5 finds us in 𝗀𝗵𝗵𝗁𝗏. Day 6, we're traveling to Mira Gorge National Park. Day 7, we're traveling further up towards 𝗏𝗂𝗏𝗀𝗃, Oravița, and Densuș Church. All these names will make sense later. Don't worry. Day 8, another 𝗏𝗂𝗏𝗀𝗃 location and Hunedoara. Day 9, Roșia Montană and Raven's Nest. Day 10, Sibiu, and day 11 takes us back to Bucharest down Transfăgărășan Road. First of all, let's put Romania on the map. I have here the map of Europe and the European Union. Romania is located southeastern Europe. It borders the Black Sea to the east, Bulgaria, Ukraine, Hungary, and Serbia. And if you're more familiar to Google Maps template, let's locate Romania here. Okay, it's this country, right? The country that looks like a fish. Romania historically has been split between 3 regions, and today it's actually home to 9 different regions. But to put it in bigger lines, it's Transylvania, it was Wallachia to the south, and Moldova to the east. And because I know that a lot of the locations that I've mentioned before are unknown, let me give you a rundown of the itinerary that we're going to follow. So we start in Bucharest, and then we go towards the west of the country, going down a little bit south in 𝗀𝗵𝗵𝗁𝗏, travel further west, and then going up. So as you can see, as I've mentioned in the beginning, we are avoiding Transylvania a little bit. We are still going towards Transylvania, as you can see from here, traveling back to Sibiu and Transfăgărășan, but these regions are mostly outside. So, first day, you arrive in Bucharest. Normally, we would suggest you book a flight that gives you some time to explore Bucharest on your first day. This particular tour does not include activities at leisure in Bucharest. We would pick you up, it's a private transfer from the airport, and take you to your accommodation. As I've mentioned, if you have some time to explore Bucharest, we can definitely take you and see the old town and take you down on a promenade. This city is not that old. It's 500 years old, and it was founded by a shepherd. So unlike other European capitals, Bucharest does not have that long history behind it, but we still find it very, very pretty. So if you have some time, if you've arrived and you decided you don't want to rest at the hotel for the first day to relieve some of the jet lag, some of my suggestions to visit in Bucharest would be the Romanian Athenaeum, which is a concert hall located in the center of Bucharest and the landmark of our capital city. It was first opened in 1888, and its most iconic feature is the circular domed roof. Vlad has covered Bucharest in much more detail in his Discover Romania tour, which I will leave the link for you to watch if you want for the recording. As in the Discover Romania, we spent a lot of time in Bucharest. So we can visit the Romanian Athenaeum if you have time. It's an extraordinary, beautiful building. Or we can go visit the Palace of the Parliament. Now, Bucharest is known internationally through this building, and It's no wonder why. It's the heaviest building in the world, and it was built by our communist dictator, 𝗁𝗃𝗄. We are a little bit conflicted about its history. We're not that proud that it exists, but we embrace the fact that people want to visit Bucharest today to just see this building. Let me explain briefly why we don't like it. Because 𝗁𝗃𝗄 had to destroy half of the old town of Bucharest in order to construct this building. Just to give you an idea, it's over 84 meters high. It has 365,000 square meters and weighs more than 4 million tons. It is the second largest administrative building in the world after the Pentagon. The interior, it's all done in marble, of course. You know, communist dictators liked to be very opulent and to show off, even though their people were probably starving. And it actually depleted most of the national quarries in building this, these rooms. The most annoying fact is that this building is not used. I mean, it is used by the parliament today, but it's only used in less than 2% of its whole surface. So the rest of the rooms just lay there unused. They say that there's a bunker underneath it, a metro station. We don't know. These are only rumors, but it was never, like, there was never an official statement about it. This is the front view of the Palace of the Parliament, and the boulevard that you see coming out of it, it's the Unirii Boulevard. Fun fact, ceausescu actually wanted to build this, this big house just so that he has a way to speak to the people from the balcony. He was inspired by the North Korean leader, and that's where he developed that. After a visit to North Korea, that's how he developed his cult, his personality cult. And he wanted to do Unirii Boulevard in the same image of Champs-Élysées in Paris, but of course he wanted it much wider. So here we are. That's the view if you were to sit on the balcony of the Palace of the Parliament. Another iconic landmark of Bucharest, if you have time to visit it, it's very easy to visit because it's located in the old town. So just a small walk will take you through it. It's 𝗏𝗏𝗄𝗆 Church. It's built in brâncovenesc style. Brâncovenesc is a typical Romanian architectural style found in Wallachia. And it actually, the name 𝗏𝗏𝗄𝗆 means city of the church. This church is dedicated to the Saint Archangels Michael and Gabriel, and it was built in 1724. Of course, before being just a church and a monastical building, this was located next to an inn. It was common for churches to be built next to inns, as they would take their incomes from the travelers staying at that inn. It was a relatively common situation for those times. That's the inside of the church. It's really, really beautiful. It's very little, but I do recommend a visit. If you see all these stone pieces all around them, they are salvaged from other churches they were found in Bucharest, and that were destroyed by the communists when, I told you, they were building their much more egocentric projects. And lastly, I would definitely recommend a visit to Manuc's Inn. This is the oldest operating hotel building in Romania. This inn was originally owned by an Armenian entrepreneur. He is more known by his Turkish name, 𝗏𝗏𝗏, and this was one of the most important commercial complexes in the 19th century Bucharest. Just to give you an idea, it had 15 wholesalers, 23 retail stores, 107 rooms for office, and a pub. Today, they are still restoring the rooms, but you can definitely eat here, have lunch. Also located in the old town. So all of the locations that I've mentioned earlier are doable during a 2-hour walking tour through Bucharest. And they are striving to restore the inn according to how it used to look like. That's why the process is taking so long. And if you find yourself in this inn, you shouldn't leave without eating our most prized possession in terms of culinary explorations. And that's just me, that's a subject opinion on me. And they are called the 𝗏𝗏𝗏, the meat or the little ones. Similar to kebabs, but Romanians make it with pork meat. It can be a combination depending on the region of the country that you're in. You can find beef, you can find sheep meat rolled together. They're skinless, put directly on the grill, typically served with mustard, with bread. They are delicious. I'm sorry, but there are also vegetarian options today, which I have tasted, and they taste exactly like the original. So I do not feel guilty for enjoying these anymore. And for your first night after you arrive on your to start your Untouched Romania tour, your accommodation is Hotel Lido. This is a historic hotel in Bucharest. It was first opened in 1930, and it was most popular during the interwar period, the golden era. Later on, it became, it went into disuse during communism, and it was recently restored by an entrepreneur. And today, it looks a little bit like this on the inside. So you can either check in into a double room if you're traveling with your partner, or we do offer on our small group tours the opportunity to roommate match. So we put people in these twin rooms, same sex, as to avoid any issues, and of course only if you so desire. All right, so after you arrive in Bucharest, so day one was just arrival in Bucharest. You choose whatever you want to do if you have time, or if not, if you just want to relax for your upcoming tour, you can do that too. Because on day two, we are traveling from Bucharest to our first location, and that's Măltărești and 𝗁𝗏𝗄, which is the heart of Romanian ceramics. 𝗁𝗏𝗄 ceramics are handmade in a specific region of 𝗁𝗏𝗀 County, and they are today inscribed in the UNESCO World Heritage List of Intangible Culture. And for us, it's a unique example of craftsmanship. But you have to... The music, someone is, Vlad is telling me that I need to keep the music a little bit down. Okay, let me know if this is better. Okay, so 𝗁𝗏𝗄 is one of the locations that we most visit in our tours, and that's because we like to encourage local artisan community to keep doing what they're doing. For a long period of time, artisans in this country found no support, and they either left the country or they either turned to doing something else that was more profitable to them. Communism, in a way, contributed to mass wiping of all traditions, because everyone was the same. No art was encouraged. Everyone was given work from the moment they finished school. So that's why we are working now towards bringing back these traditions, reviving them, and also trying to encourage communities to develop further. And 𝗁𝗏𝗄 is a perfect example of how we're trying to do so, because the first moment you arrive in this village, you will see the main street full of all these spots. Now, I have to maybe disappoint you in a little way. Unfortunately, not a lot of tourists know that these spots are not made in the traditional way to do 𝗁𝗏𝗄 ceramics. So they just come by car, they stop, and they think, okay, let me buy some ceramics. Maybe I'm going to contribute to the community. I'm buying Romanian products. That doesn't happen most of the times. They are produced in China by local entrepreneurs, and they sell them under the name of authentic 𝗁𝗏𝗄 ceramics. So be very careful where you buy this ceramics from. That's why we're here to help you, to let you know that if you move a little bit further from the main street and turn right, there's another street called 𝗁𝗏𝗊. 𝗁𝗏 in Romanian means Potter, so literally Potter's Street, where this ancient craft is best preserved. You get a completely different feeling. You see all of the houses are old traditional houses adorned with the dishes and the plates that they make and decorate themselves, and the artisans live in these houses. So when we travel to 𝗁𝗏𝗀, we go to 𝗁𝗏𝗏 because that's where the last remaining potters of ceramics live. A big part of Romanian culture, values, and traditions are still found in this side of the country. And the trade of ceramics has become the main source of income for many families that still live here. So, as I've mentioned, 𝗁𝗏𝗀 ceramics is part of the UNESCO Intangible Heritage, and there are a few main symbols that you will find all throughout their creations. So we have, let's see if we can identify them. Let me put this highlighter a little bit thicker. Okay, so we have the Tree of Life. We have the rooster, which is most common associated with 𝗁𝗏𝗀 ceramics. We have either fish, right here, snake can be present, the spiral of life, it's either here or here. The 𝗁𝗏𝗀 rooster, it's a symbol of immortality and victory of light versus darkness, right? And the countryside where people didn't have clocks, they didn't have phones and so on. The rooster was the one that announced the start of the day and the light, you know, winning over the night. The concentric circles, as well as the grapes or leaves or clover or wheat, they all reflect the importance of agriculture in this region, and not just in this region, but all throughout Romania. Romania is still today heavily rural country, so half of the country still lives in the countryside. So that's what they represent. These plates were also could also be wedding gifts, and they were decorated as such with symbols of fertility or prosperity. And of course, you have the Christian symbols such as the cross or the snake, the vine or the star, which can be found on these plates. Everything is traditional, everything is done just with the sense that I am continuing what my ancestors are doing. Don't be surprised if some potters don't know the meaning behind the symbols themselves. They have taken them from their parents and they just do it because that's how they were taught. The snake, for example, is supposed to protect you from bad spirits or from illnesses. And a lot of the people in this region will tell you that food will taste much better from clay plates than anything else. And in 𝗁𝗏𝗀, the first thing that we do after we arrive is to engage into a hands-on workshop with one of our favorite master potters, and his name is 𝗊𝗶𝗶𝗄. You have it here on the left side, and this is his workshop and his house as well. So his workshop is just an extension of his house. He has a beautiful painting of the 𝗁𝗏𝗀 rooster. He passes this craft from his past generations, particularly from his father, that we know that he told us one time that his father was you know, crafting ceramics just as a way of commercial trade, of making money. And he wanted to learn from his father as a little boy, and he kept, you know, persevering. He wasn't that good at the beginning, and his father was very unforgiving with him. He was like, oh, you can't, you have to be the best if you want to make a living out of selling this ceramics. He today engages with a lot of workshop with children. Unfortunately, he does not have any ancestors of his own, so his craft is in danger of disappearing with him if he doesn't find any willing youth to pick the craft from him. So, as I've said, we are doing a hands-on workshop, and I have here a video of Vlad. If you give me 1 second to share this video with you, I need to change some settings. Please let me know if you see the video properly. The video is fine. Okay, perfect. Okay, so Mr. Biscu, as I've said, he teaches children and he is so good at just explaining. He is the one that will move the wheel underneath you and then guide your hand as you try to craft your own souvenir. Please don't make fun of Vlad and his hairstyle. This was from 2 years ago. His hair didn't grow overnight. So his potter's wheel is just in front of his house, right, and by the main street in this village, which is a very big street. And he invites everyone that passes in front that wants to discover 𝗁𝗲𝗀𝗀 ceramics to step inside and learn from a master potter. I find that absolutely amazing because the best way to understand the struggles of an artist or a craftsman is to actually yourself in their skin and understand how difficult it is to craft and do whatever they're doing. I remember when I tried initially, I thought, oh, this is easy. It's not easy. I destroyed everything I was trying. I gave up. Vlad was much better than I was. This is a photo from the Flying the Nest tour that we did with them in Romania in 2019, and just wanted to showcase the workshop that they did as well. At the end, when you try to craft your own souvenir, you can also do the painting of your choosing. In this case, the rooster. And you can, and I chose to do the snake, and you can leave this plate with the master potter. He will burn it for you, turn it into a complete piece, and we can actually ship them if you so desire. Another video here, just wanted to show you how diligent he is and how careful you have to be in painting this ceramics. And what a lot of people don't know is that in order to be authenticated as a 𝗂𝗶𝗴𝗵𝗀 ceramicist, you have to respect certain characteristics. So the clay needs to be locally sourced from nearby hills or from within Romania. The instruments are all handmade. You can see he's using a type of feather, but it's actually a hollowed out bull's horn with a goose's feather on top. And he places the colors inside here, and they flow. They free flow towards the tip, and there's nothing stopping them. It's just your hand movement that will generate the quantity of paint that goes onto these plates. So very, very difficult to succeed into not spoiling everything. And all of the colors need to be also naturally made. So from clay, from plants, from everything that they find around their house pretty much and around the region. So yeah, we're just gonna walk through the village and just admire some of these plates, which can be more than 10 years old, 20 years old, or even more. And if you want to go even further into 𝗁𝗲𝗀 ceramics, there's a museum in town where they display ceramics from all over the country. It's not just 𝗁𝗲𝗀 that produces authentic Romanian ceramics. There are several regions. It's just 𝗁𝗲𝗀 that's made it to the UNESCO Intangible Heritage List because of its unique type of doing them. Everything is done by hand and all natural. And we have a rooster under a palm tree. I wonder if there are a lot of palm trees in Romania. Of course, this is not a palm tree. I'm just joking. You can see the apples. But the first time I saw this plate, I was quite surprised. I thought it's a very funny drawing. From 𝗁𝗲𝗀, another village that we visit during this day after our hands-on workshop is Măldărești. Măldărești is home to the last fortified houses of 𝗁𝗂𝗍 type. So 𝗁𝗂𝗍 is just the plural of the Romanian word. It comes from Turkish. It means tower, And they are semi-fortified buildings found only in Oltenia region. Oltenia region is part of Wallachia, so only in the southern region of Romania. They were originally inhabited by noble families. We call them boiar. They weren't necessarily noble as in blue blood, more like the richer families of a certain village. And their purpose is was to defend them against violent raids by outlaws or rebels that came from the south of the Danube. This happened mostly in the 18th century. And of course, it also helped the boyars protect themselves against the riots of their own peasants working for them. So you never know who attacked you. So they decided to protect themselves by building a hidden room. Let me turn this on. Here, a hidden room inside the roof. So similar to a panic room, if you want, because this room would shut itself completely sealed off from the rest of the house, and the walls were also fortified, so very tough to break inside. This Cula Greceanu is the oldest found in Romania. It was built approximately in 1517. And it was also the location of several Romanian movies depicting historical facts. Here are some photos from inside. Of course, these are all replicas. This is not the original furniture. Very, very narrow, very tight. I imagine people were a lot shorter. You can see me here, trying not to bump my head. And this is another cula found next to this one, to Cula Greceanu, and bears the name of Cula Duca. This is much built in the 19th century, in 1812, so much younger, so to say, compared to the other one, which is why it's a little bit better preserved. And I wanted to show you the heater that they had inside. Everything was lavishly decorated. It had to show how rich the family was. And one attraction that's on our mind every time we visit Măldărești is their local fountain. And we never even thought about this before the YouTube vloggers visited us. But we told them that in Romania, in the villages, people still commonly drink from a fountain, and they pull their own water from the fountain, and that's potable water. And that surprised them. Like initially they were like, oh, so can I really drink? And we said, yes, of course. So now every time we visit Măldărești and the Cule, we encourage everyone to drink this pure water found in the well. It comes from the natural layer of water found underneath the ground. It's cold. It's really, really nice. So if you haven't ever tried, in Romania, you'll get the chance to taste well water. And to finish off the day, you've done a hands-on workshop. You visited the Măldărești Cule, and just walking around that village, it brings you a sense of tranquility. And we want to complete that and finish the day off with a local inn found next to Măldărești, built by a local family that wanted to leave Bucharest and go back to their origins. And they moved back home a few years back and decided to do everything in traditional style. So they've employed local artisans, wood carvers, furniture painters, even the rugs are done by hand and all produced in Romania. That's how it would look on the inside. Also the metalworks, also done by hand and within the region. And this is the terrace of their restaurant. They prepare home-cooked meals. So you never know what you're gonna get until you reach there. They have the menu for the day. And trust me, I've never had a bad meal there. The owner is a great cook. Not only that, they also have a little creek passing right in their backyard. And this is us on the wooden bridge. No railings, but don't worry, the drop is not that high. And some hammocks just for you to chill, to relax after your second day in Romania. As I've said, they do all of the food in there. Just wanted to showcase one of my personal favorite soup besides the tripe soup that I've mentioned last time. It's the bean soup, which you can either have in bread in oven cooked bread, or just simply with red onion and some salt. It's possibly one of the best Romanian 𝗀𝗏𝗊𝗲 and very, very filling. Like if you just have this 𝗀𝗏𝗊𝗲 with some bread, you're good. You don't need to have anything else. And of course, there's the meaty version or the vegetarian version. So good night for the second day and good morning for the third day in Romania, where we are going to do something a little bit more adventurous. So I don't know, if you don't like heights, this is probably not the best activity for you, but we do encourage everyone to step outside of their comfort zone, because everything is done in a very safe environment with a local guide, with a professional local guide. Not a lot of people know this about Romania. We do have a lot of Via Ferrata trails. We're going to talk about what Via Ferrata is in just a few moments. And this is located in the same region as the villages that we've seen in the second day. So Via Ferrata are actually a great way of exploring the mountains. Do let me know in the chat if you've ever done a Via Ferrata anywhere else in the world. They're very popular all throughout Europe. I don't know about the States, but I imagine there are also trails there. And this sport is so popular because it does not necessarily require mountain experience. You do need to have a good physical condition, and as I've mentioned, no fear of heights. Some routes are even accessible for children, which makes this a very good option for families as well if they want to have an active holiday. And the only thing you need on a Via Ferrata is, of course, the local guide and some just standard gear. You need to have good walking shoes, a helmet, as you see, gloves so that you don't scratch your hands on the rocks, and just a comfortable harness. So this purple thing is it's a back harness, which you can sit in if you want to. Via Ferrata just literally means in Latin iron way, and it's kind of like a bridge between scrambling and climbing. Even though it requires special equipment, it does not require knowledge of climbing. This is just a metal rail. I don't know if you see here, where you just attach your equipment and just move further. It helps you climb much better. Without the Via Ferrata, it would be impossible to tackle some cliffs or some ledges just by yourself, and they would just be inaccessible. So once you reach to the top of this cliff in 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, this is your view, and this is where the true challenge comes in. There's a metal rod placed in between two peaks, and then you hang your hammock on this metal cable. Then you have to walk, of course, supported by the equipment, and just put yourself into the hammock. So as you see from this image, we were both double strapped and sitting very comfortably in the hammock. The drop is 200 meters in the air, but once you're up there, it doesn't really feel that scary anymore. The only scary part for me was actually walking this cable until I actually sat down on the hammock. More view from the top, and once you get to the top, there are a few very rewarding caves that we also explore. We have a bath friend that resides there. And then we go further on, we move further on. So if you want to move to a more adventurous part of the day, you've done the hammock, you've suspended in the air, we have another challenge, and that's paragliding over Transalpina, which is arguably the oldest road over the Carpathian Mountains, one of the most beautiful roads that you can visit in Romania, and one road that was used by the Romans when they conquered Dacia back in the 2nd century AD. Do remember this, because we will be talking about Romans coming into Dacia in ancient time to conquer these territories, and you will see them all throughout the tour from now on. They wanted to conquer Dacia because of their gold resources. So what I would suggest to do over Transalpina is paragliding. Paragliding does not require any motorized equipment. It's just you, your guide, and then you're just flying over the scenery. Look how many paragliding people can go. This is just a festival that happens every year. It doesn't happen every day, but it's actually a great point because there's not a lot of forest around, so it's easy to take off and to land. So let's see a video of how this video is not going to play. Oh, there we go. So the takeoff happens at 1,100 meters. And actually, paragliding is one of my favorite activities. It literally feels like you're sitting in a chair and you're watching the scenery in front of you develop in front of you. There's nothing scary about it. Once you're on the chair, on the paragliding chair, the guy takes care of everything. You're just in his hands. And once you take off, there's not much you can do about it. You're there, and all you have to do is enjoy. And unless the wind is really, really powerful and you're taking some winding turns, paragliding is really not that scary if you don't have a fear of heights. Yeah, so you can see 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 here in this video. Those of you that are adventurous enough that there's no age limit to go paragliding, there's only a weight limit. You have to consider that you're also taking the trainer. I think the weight limit in kilograms is 110, which would be around 200 something pounds. So fairly accessible. Of course, this limit depends on the weather conditions and stuff too. So yeah, we want to take everyone paragliding while in this area, which is known for adventure activities most of all, as you've seen the suspended hammock, 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗏 paragliding. But if you decide that paragliding is not for you, we of course offer the option to do something else. And this area is also home to one of our most popular caves, one of which is called 𝗰𝗵𝗁 Cave. No particular reason of why it's called this way other than when there were raids, attacks by outlaws, by rebels, children and women would hide in this cave. 𝗰𝗁𝗁 Cave is actually an elaborate cave system located in 𝗪𝗏𝗪 commune in Gorj County, and it's the most visited cave in Romania today. There's only a guided walk inside. You cannot go on your own. There's, during the touristy season, I have seen tours with more than 50 people. So that's why we don't necessarily go there first thing. It is a very beautiful cave. It's one of the first caves I have seen as a child when I started traveling in Romania. But because of its popularity, it definitely does not feel untouched. The cave, it's important for its historical and archaeological discoveries. One of the most important is the cave bear remains, which were dated more than 30,000 or somewhere between 30,000 and 40,000 years ago. Beautiful formation of stalactites and stalagmites. If I have a question for you, do you know the difference between stalactites and stalagmites? One comes down from the roof, the other one grows from the floor, but which one is which? I'm asking you this because this was tough for me as a child to remember. I would always confuse the two. And after such an active day, after all these adventures, your accommodation for tonight is a traditional Romanian house, which was turned into an inn, into a guest house. And it just gives you that Romanian feel But it really depends on the time of the day that you come into, because the guys from Flying the Nest, when they first arrived, it was a little after sunset, and it had that eerie, creepy feeling to it. They've actually called it the creepy Romanian manor, because with the piano, with the darkly lit hallway, it did give you that feeling, and the creaking wooden staircase. But it's actually a very beautiful location. This is the balcony. I love the traditional motifs and the restaurant on the left. And you're set for a very relaxing and, you know, you're probably going to sleep very well after all the effort that you've done during the day. Now, before having dinner, last time Vlad did tell you about 𝗲𝗏𝗏𝗏, one of our most national dish, I would call. Everyone makes 𝗲𝗏𝗏𝗏, but we also have a bell pepper version. We call them ardei umpluți, stuffed bell peppers. It's typically the same mixture on the inside as 𝗲𝗏𝗏𝗏, only that you would put them inside bell peppers and put the bell peppers in the oven. Also vegetarian options available. This is what's great about Romanian cuisine. If you don't want to have meat for whatever reason, there's always a vegetarian option for the same dishes that are for the same traditional dishes. Day 3 done, and we move towards day 4, towards 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗃 and 𝗃𝗵𝗵𝗁𝗏. 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗃 is actually one of our most unique and beautiful natural reserve. It's home to the almost extinct in Romania black pine. And I have another video to share for you here. Really hope it works. Okay. This has not been filmed by me. It's the channel of a fellow colleague that uses drone footage to showcase Romanian mountains. And this is the footage that he has done over this natural park. Drone footage is actually the best way to admire the natural beauty of these places. They are remote and fairly isolated. There's not a lot of hiking trails, and we do not recommend going inside without a local guide, because if the trails are not marked, they don't exist. You just have to go rogue through the forest. So 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗃, it's actually called the 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗃 National Park. Oh, there's no more share screen available. Can you, if you don't see the video, please let me know, because Vlad is okay. Vlad has been telling me that the video couldn't be seen. Okay, so for those of you that couldn't hear me during the video, I know the music was a little bit too loud. I was saying that the 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗃 is very isolated. It's very raw and authentic. There are not a lot of hiking trails. If you go in there, I would only recommend going with a local guide, because there's no markings at all. And one place that we visit in 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗃 are the isolated villages of Romania. So these are communities of people that do not live by a road. I'm not talking about a main road, not even a secondary road. To get here to 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗃, you would have to cross a river and then a wooden bridge, And then after a short walk, you would get to your first test. You would have, that's the entrance into the village. Handmade staircase, wooden staircase. If you manage to conquer your fear of heights, you reach the top of the stairs, and you still have to hike for at least 1 more hour to see the first houses in this isolated village. 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗀 is the one that we visit during this tour, but there are several other isolated villages of communities of hundreds of people, even less. What's beautiful is the scenery. The stunning scenery is the perfect background to see authentic Romania and the authentic countryside that we are known for. If you want to go during autumn, the colors are more spectacular, but it's beautiful all throughout the year. After leaving 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗀 and 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗀, we move further to another natural reserve and visit 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏𝗀 Mill Complex in 𝗡𝗵𝗴𝗵𝗴𝗏. 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏 is the old name of this village, and it's today home to one of the oldest complex of water mills still functioning. They are all considered real treasures. They are more than 2 centuries old, and even though some of the pieces have been replaced with more modern ones, they are part today of the tentative list of UNESCO World Heritage. There are 22 water mills in total in the valley, and they're named by the families that own them. So just so you can imagine, the river crosses. The fact that it's terraced has permitted these mills to spring up in this place and to create a community of millers. It's not a community of millers anymore, but you can still go into one of these mills and grind your corn if you want to, or just your wheat, produce flours. That's what we've done. We brought our own wheat and had our own ground flour the same day. This is the largest complex of its kind in all Southeastern Europe. The walk itself is not too long, less than 1 hour. You can go further if you want to, but that will mean to just go further into the natural reserve. Just visiting the complex, it's a short from the village. The village is 𝗡𝗵𝗴𝗵𝗴𝗏, and this is the guest house that we're actually staying in for the night. Just a local house restored by the family that owns it. It was turned into a guest house to receive tourists, for them to enjoy the wonders of the place and the inner courtyard. So the style of building the houses is specific to this area. As you've seen, a very fortified front, and then you go inside into the courtyard. All around top floors are rooms, and of course outdoor seating area. Everything done by hand. Look at these beautiful chairs, wooden chairs. And just a typical double room inside. All the furniture done locally and painted locally. And how it's very popular these days throughout Romania, you would have an outdoor soaking tub. We call them 𝗀𝗵𝗏𝗶. Vlad will give you the name in the chat. It's just made out of wooden, has a heater underneath, and even if it's super cold during winter, you can still soak outdoors. Day 5, so we finished day 4. Day 5 takes us to Danube's boilers. Now, we have covered the Danube's boilers in other tours before, and I do encourage you to watch our recordings of the Lower Danube River Cruise, which focuses on the Danube's boilers. And we have included into our YouTube series with Flying the Nest. What we do, we spend there 1 day and we take a boat ride on the Danube. It's the best way to see the main landmarks. And Danube's boilers is just the name of the region, but it's actually Danube's gorge. It's where the Danube flows into Romania from Serbia. These are gorges. The way you see Danube today, it's not how it always used to look like. It was, the level is much higher up because of building the Iron Gate Dam during communism. So a lot of the stuff are actually submerged underwater. The main landmark that people know about the Danube spoilers is 𝗊𝗶𝗆's rock sculpture. It's our own version of Mount Rushmore, and it's Europe's largest rock sculpture today. One of the main attractions, and once you're on the boat, it reveals itself right after a corner. and it gives me Lord of the Rings vibes if you've seen Lord of the Rings. This sculpture is not that old. It was made between 1994 and 2004. It was commissioned by a local tycoon that, you know, was very proud of his ancestors, the Dacians, and it's 55 meters high. It's the tallest rock relief in Europe. This statue was placed opposite an ancient memorial plaque done by the Romans on the Serbian side, which we're going to see a little bit later. So not a lot of people know that this statue is not completed. It's missing the top part. So it's supposed to symbolize King 𝗏𝗏𝗏, who was the most important king of the Dacians. He is also the one that lost the fight against the Romans and that permitted Dacia to be conquered and later Romanized. And he was known for always, I mean, this is the Dacian cap. It's called the Phrygian cap. That's what we imagine that they look like. That's how the rock sculpture should have looked like as well. But unfortunately, the tycoon died and the project stopped being funded. So if you ever want to complete your own rock sculpture here in Romania, you have your chance to come in and maybe put your name as well, because he also has his name here. Another landmark during the boat ride is Veteran Cave. It's a spectacular cave. It only, from the outside, you only see this little hole which gives the cave light. You might not even notice it if you pass it by and you don't know that it's there. But the name of the cave comes from an Austrian general by his name Veterani. And this is the first cartographic cave of Europe. It was the first one because of its military interest. To access the cave today, you can only do so by water on a boat ride, and we go inside it and visited with a local guide. The local guide is actually a forest ranger of the National Park of Danube's Gorges. Another cave is 𝗏𝗏𝗏 Cave, which is the largest cave in the Danube Canyon. It consists of several galleries, and it can be accessed both by boat or from the inside. Now, this cave has a very interesting history because it was used in communism by Romanians to escape on the Serbian border. They thought Yugoslavia would give them a little bit more freedom, so they would endanger themselves trying to cross the Danube, and that's not an easy thing to do because the currents are so powerful. By putting CO2 propellers on their sides, that would give them a little bit of speed. Some succeeded, some, even if they succeeded to cross the border, they would still be turned back by the Yugoslavian soldiers. So you never knew what happened. And the plaque that I was telling you about earlier, the one that faces the rock sculpture of 𝗏𝗏𝗏, is Tabula Traiana. Tabula Traiana is it commemorates Emperor Trajan conquering Dacia. So it commemorates the final defeat of 𝗏𝗏𝗏 by Trajan in 105 and the absorption of the Dacian kingdom into the Roman Empire. Just so you know how it's spelled. The way you see it today, it's not how it always looked like. It had to be lifted from the bottom when the Danube was flooded. Was moved, similar to how they did to Egyptian temples in 𝗏𝗶𝗶. They just carved the plaque out and move it further up. So the way Trajan conquered Dacia was by building a bridge. It's called the Bridge of Apollodorus over the Danube, and it's actually important architectural construction of his period. Nothing similar has been done for more than 1,000 years after it was constructed. Emperor Trajan commissioned one of the best architects in the world for this, Apollodorus of Damascus, who was of Syrian origin. And this is how Roman troops were able to finally cross into Dacia and fight Dacians and conquer them for good. This is what remains. It's only the foot of the bridge. And if you want to find out how the bridge was destroyed, let me tell you now, it wasn't destroyed by time or by other conquering tribes. It was destroyed by Romans when they retreated from Dacia. So yeah, they've destroyed their own work. The remains of this bridge can be visited today during a guided visit to the archaeological park found nearby. And is also found in the area, also included in the Untouched Romania tour, is a 𝗀𝗏𝗏 hike. This hike takes you above on the mountains that surround the Danube to give you a panoramic view of the water. And this area here, it's called the 𝗀𝗶𝗵𝗶. It's where the boilers, the Danube's boilers, are found. We call it Danube's boilers because of the currents. Before the Danube was dammed, it would appear like the water was boiling. It doesn't look like that anymore, but the name has stuck with the locals, so that's why everyone knows it as Danube's boilers today. The forests found on these mountains, it's actually a it's peculiar. It's a very unique habitat. You can see deers, birds, or just insects all around. And to finish off the day, you are by the Danube, and I would like to share with you my favorite appetizer when I'm in the area, and that's fish roe. I don't know if eating fish roe is common in your cuisine, but it's definitely very common in Romanian cuisine. We have it red onion with a little bit of lemon, and we spread it over toast. Absolutely delicious. There are different types of fish that you can make this dish out of. Typically carp, but not only. It depends. But here in the Danube Spoilers, we have a perfect spot, a perfect restaurant that serves one of the best fish roes that I have had in Romania. Another peculiarity of the place are the forests of fig trees, found only here or in Dobrogea by the Black Sea, and the local people call them 𝗁𝗍𝗏. This is the fig tree. It's a little bit different than what you might know from other places. It's just green. And the local people make, of course, brandy out of it. Not only brandy, also fruit jam. But yeah, definitely delicious and only found here. So if you ever find one, do try it because it's very rare. The accommodation by the Danube Spoilers is one of our favorite guest houses. It's only 3 houses. The owners live there. Their property is found behind these guest houses, and they overlook the Serbian border. It's their daughter that actually decorated the little houses, and this is how it looks on the inside. So they're pretty much 3 double rooms, perfect for our small group tour because we only accept 6 people. And having breakfast from the terrace is definitely a highlight. Waking up with the sun at sunrise to have breakfast, it's beautiful. After Danube Spoilers, we go back towards the country. So here we are at the border with Serbia at the Danube Spoilers. So we're moving back towards Transylvania. On our way to Transylvania, we're crossing 𝗏𝗏 Gorge National Park. The first time that I visited 𝗏𝗏 Gorge was, I think, around 10 years ago, and it has remained unchanged. However, what has changed is people's interest in it. So now I do see a lot more people. This is declared a protected area, and it just represents a mountainous area here close to Timișoara. There are mountain peaks, there are crevices, caves, valleys. We have 𝗏𝗏 River, and of course all sorts of natural formation like this very blue lake. This lake is called 𝗀𝗶𝗏𝗏, and what's interesting is that it never freezes. So you know Romania has heavy winters, but this water never freezes. The temperature stays constant between 4 to 8 degrees, which is 39 to 42 Fahrenheit, and that makes all the migratory birds stay here even during winter. So they never leave because they have water, they have food, so they remain here. This place has also a legend that I will share in a second. But another landmark that attracts attention here in 𝗏𝗏 Gorges is the 𝗊𝗏𝗏 waterfall. This photo has been done during spring, but if you come and visit 𝗏𝗏 Gorge at the end of summer, it'll look a little bit like this. So we call it the 𝗊𝗏𝗏 monster. You have to really look hard into thinking it's a monster. I imagine the hand is here, the head with the 2 eyes are here, and Vlad just underneath the waterfall. it's sad to see it so dried out, but it's something that happens every year. This place has a lot of water during spring. Rafting is done April, May, but then if the summers do get quite dry and the waterfalls are depleted. This is the near river inside of the park. You can just chill inside. I call it our own 𝗏𝗏𝗏. I don't know if you know the cotton formation in Turkey, cotton-like, it's limestone. And you can just chill in the water if you are courageous enough to face the freezing temperatures, or just enjoy the many drops of water all throughout the park. So I was telling you about the legend of 𝗀𝗶𝗵𝗏. Local people have seen that the lake is peculiar because it's not very deep, and the fact that it doesn't freeze, they created a legend around it. So they say that a long time ago, the son of a local boyar wanted to marry a peasant girl, but of course his father did not agree with it. So his father had the girl killed at his order so that his son could forget her. However, the son of course did not forget her, and they say that he cried so much that he cried his eyes out, and supposedly this lake is made out of his tears, and that's why it's called 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗏. 𝗀 in Romanian means eye, so it has the shape of an eye and the color of an eye, because the color of this color of the water is not common in the rest of the park, so it's just here. So we don't know, maybe there's a source of truth in this legend. And the second most, this is the most popular waterfall in 値əra Gorge is called Bigger Waterfall. Some articles have put it as one of the top waterfalls in the world. It's definitely beautiful. It has its charm, but unlike the rest of the park, what happened with Bigger Waterfall compared to when I've seen it first time 10 years ago is that it has become increasingly popular with lots and lots of tourists. So if 10 years ago, a lot of people would just stop their car by the side of the road, go and visit it, now they've actually made parking spots, parking places, lots of retail stores, food trucks. So it feels kind of like a ferry. And in reality, I know this waterfall looks big, but it's actually very, very small and located right by the road. So I took a photo after taking the photo of the waterfall, and that's how close it is to the main road. And of course, we found ourselves in a traffic jam, which is not uncommon in Romania. Traffic jams such as this ones are due to happen everywhere you go in the countryside. Not only, sometimes in towns as well. And to finish off the day, we are checking into another guest house very close to 値əra National Park, in a village, and people call it an artist's village because a lot of people have moved from Timișoara, from larger cities, into this area. They are poets, painters, musicians, and so on. Even the owner of this place, she plays guitar. I wouldn't necessarily call her a musician, and she has decided to restore this traditional house into a guest house. This used to be her ancestors' property, and she turned the stable and everything into a restaurant. And then the rooms, all the original stones, wooden pieces on the roof, and they have a very, very beautiful pet, Dada the goat. The guys from Flying the Nest really liked this goat. She was the highlight of their video here. She is very cute. However, at the time last year, we couldn't see her because she was sent away. With her herd, she had a baby. But maybe this year we'll get to see her again. And what they serve here as appetizers, and I wanted to share with you, Romania has a lot of spreads in its cuisine. Vegetable spreads can be eggplant, can be anything that you can imagine turn vegetable in, but this guest house serves cauliflower dip, also served over toast. Absolutely delicious. It's not common to have cauliflower dip, but the owner of this place really touched a sensitive culinary spot of mine with the dip. And of course, we have special luggage service. This guest house is completely surrounded by thick walls and cobblestone paved streets. So it's difficult to drag your luggage to the parking spot. You can just open the window. Vlad will be there for you to carry your luggage across the window. It's actually much easier. And after a relaxing night, a comfortable night, we wake up on day 7 of your tour. We're already moving more towards Transylvania in 𝗁𝗏𝗧, and we're going to visit 𝗁𝗏𝗁𝗀 and then 𝗁𝗏 Church in the same day, but later. First, we're going to start the day with a train ride. Now, I know Romania is known for Maramureș and its steam train Mocănița, but this ride is also very beautiful. It happens between 𝗁𝗏𝗀 and Anina, and this railway is actually the oldest one in Romania, located only 110 kilometers away from Timișoara, one of the main cities of Romania. It's often referred to as the Țemering of Banat. Țemering is an Austrian train. It was actually built by the Austrians here in Romania. And just taking a trip on this train is superb. You have mountain sceneries all around you. You're passing numerous viaducts, and one viaduct is actually the tallest one in the country. You first depart from 𝗁𝗏𝗀 train station, which is the oldest train station in Romania, built in 1854. I know the train station doesn't look like much, and it's better not to come with high expectations when you go into these towns, because these are former mining towns. The scenery around town can be a little bit depressing. It's not rich today. A lot of the people have left, and it's only known for this touristic train ride. However, the scenery around it, it's beautiful, and we think the route is definitely a must-do if you find yourself in Romania. The total length of the route is 34 kilometers, but it takes 2 hours to cover it all. That's because the train runs at a speed of 17 kilometers per hour. There are in total 14 tunnels, 10 viaducts, 89 bridges, 49 sustaining walls, and 21 kilometers of very skillfully done mountain cuts. That's one of the viaducts, and this is one of the mountain cuts that I was telling you about. You're crossing very, very, very close to the rock walls around you. And you arrive, this is the train station that you arrive in Anina. I really like the colors of the train, but my favorite part about this train is the fact that because it runs with such slow speed, you can just open the door and admire the scenery sitting down. Of course, you have to be careful with branches and leaves, you know, maybe smashing your, whipping you in the face, but it's very safe. You just sit down and enjoy the view. And the best part, again, is that the construction of this railway did not destroy the beauties of the mountains. So definitely a train ride to remember. And in my opinion, sometimes even better than the Mocănița steam ride. Yeah, so the tunnels, this is just to show you how narrow the tunnels are. Done specifically for the shape of the train and the size of this train alone. After arriving in Anina, after you get off the train, I will be there to pick you up as your guide and take you to our second location of the day, which is Ulpia Traiana 𝗁𝗏𝗀. This is the capital of former Roman Dacia, and it was built after the Romans conquered Dacia. It's located 40 kilometers away from the capital of the Dacians that I'm going to talk to in a few minutes about. And here is a map of the Roman Empire before conquering Dacia. So this is where Romania is today, known as Dacia, and the yellow part is the Roman Empire. They wanted to conquer Dacia because of its very rich resources of gold and salt. The Dacian Wars happened between 101 and 102 and 105 and 106. It was Emperor fought the Dacian, and him conquering Dacia is considered his most important achievement. And of course, you know, Romans, after conquering a territory, they would destroy the former capital of the province and build their own capital by the main road. And here you can see the road that we're actually passing by on. Stopping in 𝗀𝗶𝗴𝗵𝗀 Traiana means that we're, you know, parking the car here in this parking lot and just visiting the amphitheater and the temples found around. There were around 20,000 inhabitants in 2,000 years ago, which is more than there are than today. And after visiting 𝗀𝗶𝗴𝗵𝗀 Traiana, we're also going to visit a local church, 𝗀𝗶𝗃𝗃 Church. What's interesting about this is that it was built around 12th or 13th century, but historians also dated back to 2nd or 3rd century. And that's because it's built with pieces of Roman temples from the former Roman capital. Some of the pieces are found around here. This whole church is a mosaic. It was built throughout the years with different building materials, and they took columns from Roman temples to support the walls of the church. And finally, we have arrived at the accommodation today. It's called Transylvania Log Cabins. Very beautifully done by a Romanian couple. They decided to go back to Romania a few years back and build these wooden houses, which are found on Airbnb, and you can self-checking into them. The owner, she's an architect, and she has done the interior design on all of them. And what we have done there is we have went to the village and sourced the food that we used to prepare breakfast. This is something we've done with the YouTubers from Flying the Nest. We took to the village, we bought eggs from a villager, the vegetables from the villagers, and of course the milk. We got fresh milk too. And we have arrived to day 8. You see the name 𝗁𝗶𝗁𝗀𝗀 again, but this time it's called 𝗁𝗶𝗁𝗀𝗀𝗀, and that's because the second day we're visiting the Dacian capital of the territories that are known as Romania, the one that has been destroyed after the Dacians were conquered by the Romans. It was erected deep within the mountains. So you've noticed the difference. Romans wanted to build by the main road as it was of commercial importance and trade importance. Dacians have built their capital nestled deep within the mountains for defensive purposes. The place is part of UNESCO today. It was firstly done by King 𝗀𝗶𝗃𝗏 on my left side here, and it served as the capital of Dacia for at least 1.5 centuries until King 𝗀𝗃𝗏𝗏 was conquered by Emperor Trajan. The sad story of 𝗁𝗶𝗁𝗀𝗀𝗀, I don't know if you noticed, but here in this picture you see cement poured down the remains of the columns, and that's because our communist dictator 𝗀𝗶𝗁𝗀, the one that built the Palace of the Parliament in the 70s, decided that he wants to visit 𝗁𝗶𝗁𝗀𝗀𝗏, but because it was inaccessible, hard to get there by land, he decided to take his helicopter. How do you land a helicopter onto an archaeological site that hasn't been touched before? Well, you call your scientists and start pouring concrete on ancient artifacts so that you can land for a few hours, see your 𝗁𝗶𝗁𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗏 with your eyes, and then leave. So even with this in mind, the place still made it to the UNESCO World Heritage List for its unicity and personality, and because it's one of the last remains we have from the Dacians. And this is just so you see how it was restored. Part of this temple, of these wooden poles, have been added later. They are not the original ones. And one of the focal points of the capital is the solar disk. The Dacians were monotheists. They believed in 𝗁𝗁𝗀 as their god. And some people say that this also acted as a calendar. Of course, you see here concrete, newly placed, and the old stone parts. This is a statue of Emperor Trajan, and if you've ever been to Rome and you've seen Trajan's column, know that he has built this column to commemorate his defeat of the Dacians. That was his most important conquer of his career. They say that after conquering Dacia, Trajan announced 123 days of celebrations throughout the empire, and that's because Dacia has contributed to more than 700 million denarii per annum. So per year, 700 million dinars to Roman economy. So it was very, very important for the Roman Empire, the conquest of Dacia, because of its important gold resources. Do remember this because we're going to talk about it later. We're following the gold trails through Romania, so to say. And this is Trajan just traveling on the Danube to conquer Dacia. That was the first war before they built the bridge over the Danube. Here we have what's left of the defensive walls of the Dacians in 𝗁𝗔 𝗪𝗔. As I've said, everything was destroyed after the Romans conquered. And after visiting 𝗁𝗔 𝗪𝗔, we're leaving the mountains. We're leaving this spiritually full place, and we are visiting 𝗀𝗶𝗵𝗃 Castle. I have covered 𝗀𝗶𝗵𝗃 Castle in other past tours as well, in our Myths and Legends tours of Transylvania. If some people know me from Mara, I have covered the castle in her tour as well. 𝗀𝗶𝗵𝗃 Castle is known as one of the most haunted castles of Europe, or as I like to know it as, the Romanian Hogwarts. It was built by John Hunyadi, who was a Romanian-Hungarian nobleman. He was regent of Hungary, and he was ruling prince of Transylvania in the 15th century. I will share a photo of him later. This is how the castle used to look like. This is just an imagined drawing, because it has gone through 3 different layers of construction in the 15th century, the 17th century, and the 19th century, depending on who ruled the castle at that time. So initially, as John Hunyadi had it built, it would look like this. And in the 19th century, this is how it would look like before having the bigger towers, the iconic towers added. So John Hunyadi has his coat of arms a raven with a golden ring in its beak. And we call it 𝗀𝗶𝗵𝗃's Castle because 𝗀𝗶 is the Latin name of raven. We know that John Hunyadi was the illegitimate son of Sigismund of Luxembourg, who was Emperor of Hungary at that time. Sigismund of Luxembourg came to Transylvania. He fathered a child, an illegitimate child, with a local peasant woman, but he did not want to leave without recognizing his son, so he gave the woman a golden ring. John Hunyadi grew up. When he was a teenager, he went hunting with his foster father, and a raven wanted to steal his ring because while hunting, he put the ring aside. You know, ravens are attracted to the shine of objects, and he stole John's ring. He knew that without that ring, he could never claim his throne, so he very fast took his bow, shot the raven down, arrowed the raven down, and retrieved the golden ring. When he went to Sigismund, he was of age, and he went to Emperor of Hungary, Sigismund of Luxembourg, to claim his throne. He told him this story, and that's why the king decided to grant him the coat of arms, a raven with a golden ring in its beak. So we have a portrait of John here, and here's a portrait of his wife, Elizabeth of 𝗁𝗍𝗄. And the coat of arms of 𝗀𝗶𝗵𝗃's Castle and John Hunyadi was sometimes a combination of the 2 families. So the raven and the ram. The ram represents the noble family of 𝗁𝗍𝗄. The 2 had two boys. The first one was unfortunately murdered, and the second one later on went to become one of the most acclaimed kings of Hungary, later on by his name Matthias Corvinus. Vlad does tell a lot more of his story in our other tour, so I'm just going to remind him here that he was the one that brought Renaissance to Hungary and Transylvania as well, as Transylvania was part of Hungary during those times. more images from within the castle. It's actually my favorite castle, and we will have an interactive tour in 𝗂𝗵𝘁𝗁𝗂 castle coming soon. So do keep up with us if you want to visit the inside of the castle together with me and find out more about all of the legends surrounding it. We will find out more about the bear legend and why it was, how this legend gave it its name of the most haunted castle. Also, we're going to find out about the legend of the fountain and how they managed to build the fountain within this within the location, and just stroll around through its rooms. This has been done obviously much later to depict traditional Romanian traditional clothes. But of course, the castle is done in Gothic style, and you will recognize the broken arch here, of course, with the coat of arms in the center. So we know it as the most haunted castle, and this is the prison, and that's because John Hunyadi and later on all other rulers of the castle were actively fighting against the Ottoman Empire. So they always took hundreds of prisoners. They would spend their time in the castle's prisons, and of course the conditions were not ideal. They had lots of torture methods, and some people say that they can still hear the screams of pain coming from underneath the tunnels. Because of its beauty, the castle is today the location of a lot of movies. I'm just going to mention Dragonheart, but this castle in particular has been in depicted in lots of movies, used as a movie set. Dragonheart is just because it matches the medieval aspect of the location. And definitely, I have a message. Find yourself someone that looks at you the way Vlad looks at this bubble waffle. So of course, in front of the castles, there are a lot of retailers selling their food. Last time we went there was a bubble waffle, a bubble waffle stand. If you've never had a bubble waffle, it's delicious. It's definitely not traditional Romanian or anything like that. It has become one of my favorite sweets, and as you can see from Vlad's face, he's definitely missing that bubble waffle. And after we finish our tour, our sunset tour of 𝗂𝗵𝘁𝗁𝗂 castle, we go to our accommodation for the night, which is Castle Maria, just a nobleman's house that has been restored again. This is, I think, more than 100 years old. The house is more than 100 years old. And the owners wanted to turn it into a guest house. It's very far away from the main road. It's within a very isolated, not very isolated, but it's within an isolated village. Not a lot of people end up there. And the owner has done a great thing with the gardens. It's just a pleasure to have dinner outside in the garden and just enjoy a glass of wine, a glass of champagne, just some dessert, whatever your heart's desire. Day 9 takes us to one of the highlights of the trip. After Flying the Nest has released their Romania series, I'm not gonna lie, a lot of the people were absolutely amazed by a particular place, and that's Raven's Nest. We will see Raven's Nest a little bit later, but what we visit in the area and why we wanted to highlight is Apuseni Mountains, and in particular Roșia Montană. Roșia Montană in direct translation means the Red Mountain. And this place has been known for its gold resources from ancient times. And now everything makes sense. So Romans wanted to conquer Dacia because of its gold resources. This is where even the Dacians sourced their gold from. And now you know the place that they were looking for. This was opened as a pit mining place in the 1970s, and it was stopped because the rich lodges of war had been exhausted, and they had to invest a lot of capital and do large-scale mining to make the place profitable again. So Roșia Montană is today a place of controversy. a corporation is called 𝗏𝗏 Montano Gold Corporation has tried to take over the place and over the remaining gold and mine it, but it's a very, very destructive way to mine. They have started, and this is how it looks like after mining gold. However, it has stopped today, so there's no more gold mined as in Romania at the moment. And I'm going to explain in a few minutes why. But before we go there, just wanted to showcase a little bit of artifacts of gold that were found here. There are 2,000 pieces of gold collection found in Gold Museum in Brad, which is the only gold museum found in the world, as far as we know. And this is native gold. This looks exactly as it was found in the Romanian mountains. And their value cannot be estimated. Some people say that even a gram of gold from this can cost as much as 3 million euros, but since they're not for sale, their value, because they're so old as well. What you can visit today in 𝗏𝗏 Montano are the Roman galleries, or Alburnus Mare, the mining galleries dug by the Romans when they conquered Dacia. There are more than 100 kilometers of tunnels dug through traditional methods from antiquity until modern time. Today, you can only visit 7 kilometers because that's how long they have been researched. Only 7 kilometers are out of the 100 kilometers. Some people want to put it in the UNESCO World Heritage, but it has been postponed because of the ongoing controversy with privately owned mining companies. This is an example of Dacian gold, of a Dacian bracelet that was found here in these regions, and examples of Roman gold and Roman decorations coins that were designed after them having conquered Dacia and having more resources of gold. The tunnels look a little bit like this. They are unique in the world. They are considered unique in the world. And as you can see, they're not very tall. If you're feeling a little bit claustrophobic, maybe it's not the best place. You are going down the stairs at the beginning, and then you're just walking through the tunnels, but everything is done with a guide, so perfectly safe. And it's just interesting to see. I know the walls have a golden colors to them, but you won't find gold just like that. So yeah, that's the mining, that's what mining the gold left here after the gold corporation came to Romania to try and source gold from here. But the controversy comes from the fact that they were using cyanides. And this is how the village that used to be here looks like today. This is a satellite image. You can see the contamination of the lake. And it's definitely a very polluted area today. Before and after, before the village, the church, and now you can only see the top of the church. We like to come here just to raise awareness of the fact that mining like this with cyanides destroys the natural environment, doesn't bring any benefit other than to the corporation itself, and maybe to some of the villagers, because this is traditionally a mining town, some of them are supporting the corporation to use those cyanides and this destructive method because they don't know any better. They don't have any way to make a living. However, lots of nonprofit organizations are trying to educate them and try to bring tourism into the village through hiking trails, through just awareness, and that's what we're trying to do as well. This is a photo of the protest that happened in 2013 against the corporation that wanted to use cyanides. So thankfully, the Romanians came together and managed to stop this project. Today, the place is still closed for mining, and we will hopefully remain like that for more years to come. So as I said, they're trying to turn it into a tourism destination. Tourism is much more sustainable. It can be a much better way of living than to live in a polluted environment. So you could just go on hikes or cycling trails that have opened up. And it's actually really beautiful to bike through villages like this. This is a traditional house found specifically in this in the 𝗂𝗶𝗱𝗃 area. Raven's Nest is also built out of restored traditional houses. They brought 200 years old houses in on this location and turned them into a guest house. They have also built their own nest, Raven's Nest, where the view is absolutely incredible. It doesn't resemble anything that we have seen before in our country. Let's see if this video wants to play. Yeah, I'll play this video and let you admire the beauty of the 𝗂𝗶𝗱𝗃 mountains in this particular location. So this video doesn't only depict the accommodation, but also the places that you can see. Yeah, so Vlad is telling me that the video is not playing properly, so I've decided to skip it. I can share it with you later. But the moment you arrive in Raven's Nest, you are greeted with a welcome drink. They make it there. It's a raspberry juice. I know it looks like a cocktail, but it's just raspberry with frozen raspberries from their own garden and a mint leaf. And all you have to do is enjoy the room and enjoy the accommodation for tonight. They wanted to do everything traditional. They've used traditional blankets made out of sheep's wool, traditional a bathing area, and used folklore symbols embedded into our own stories, into Romanian stories. So yeah, this will probably be the highlight of your Untouched Romania tour. People say that they don't want to leave once they found themselves there. And if you've watched the Flying the Nest videos, you will also see that they have an outdoor bathing area, the 𝗀𝗶𝗴𝗵, the jacuzzi, but it's not a jacuzzi, it's just a natural jacuzzi with hot water. And you can just watch the sunset from there, and it's definitely an unforgettable experience. From Raven's Nest, we are moving down towards a bit of Transylvania, and we are visiting 𝗂𝗶𝘃. 𝗂𝗶𝘃 is one of the most popular towns in Romania. It's a medieval city, much older than Bucharest, for example, and part of the 𝗂𝗵𝘆𝗶. 𝗂𝗵𝘆𝗶 is what Transylvania used to be known as, which was colonized by German settlers brought here by the Kingdom of Hungary to help Hungarians defend the borders against the Mongols. So I have here a map of medieval 𝗂𝗶𝘃, which was called Hermannstadt or Cibinum in ancient times. It was the ancient name comes from the river that crosses 𝗂𝗶𝘃. And it was the most important and the richest medieval town in Transylvania. The name Hermannstadt comes from the name Hermann, which means Hermann's city. And it had more than 44 towers, 3 layers of defensive walls, which would separate the center of the city from the lower city. 19 guilds would trade and do commerce here, and that's why the city was so rich. It was also the first city to be settled by the German colonists in Romania. What we're going to do when we visit 𝗂𝗶𝘃 on day 10, so this is a much more leisurely day because we're only spending the day within the city. So you can go through the big square, or Piața Mare. In 2007, 𝗂𝗶𝘃 was called the European Capital of Culture. And from Piața Mare, we walk towards the Council Tower and go into Piața Mică, or Little Square, the 2 main squares of the central 𝗂𝗶𝘃. And another thing that 𝗂𝗶𝘃 is very well known for, it's the houses with eyes. So I've decided to share a photo of 2 of my favorite houses. That's the squinty one, that has the eyes very closed, and the one that's kind of throwing you a guilty look. I don't know, maybe if you see another expression here, do let me know in the chat. What does it look like to you? Sometimes the houses look like they're watching you. Sometimes they just have a funny face. This particular windows were done as a way to provide circulation within the attic where they would store their meat. So just the circulation of air, but no sunlight. So that's why they're very narrow. Part of the original wall can still be seen all throughout Sibiu. It's beautiful. There are several stairs going from the lower city towards the upper city. 2007 European Capital of Culture, but 2019 European Gastronomical Capital. And that's because of its very dynamic gastronomical scene. Other places that you can see are the 𝗀𝗶𝗃𝗀𝗃 house or this pole. It's called the journeyman's house. Or the medieval defensive towers where you can feel like in Reservoir Dogs. I don't know if you've seen the movie, but Vlad definitely gives me this feeling here. Or you can just enjoy having the cotton candy like I'm doing here in the big square, which is home to lots and lots of festivals all throughout the summer. What's important about Sibiu is that the populations that co-lived here, from Germans to Romanians and to Hungarians, they have only lived in peace. And there are three main churches to prove this. And that's the Orthodox Church, which looks a little bit like 𝗁𝗂𝗍𝗂 in Istanbul, the Roman Catholic Church, and the Lutheran Church. The Lutheran Church is the oldest one because Saxons started off as Catholics, but then after the Reformation, they turned Protestants. If you climb the tower of the Lutheran Church, this is the view that you're going to get. So yeah, all throughout the day, you're just visiting the city. There are plenty of landmarks, there's museums to walk through, there are restaurants to try, food to try on, or you can just go on the Bridge of Lies, which is said to collapse if you stand on it and then tell a lie. It's one of the iron cast bridges, the first iron cast bridge in Romania. And a lot of couples do like to share kisses here on this bridge because it's said that if you swear eternal love on this bridge, it will last forever. So who knows? And because it was called Gastronomical Capital, I wanted to share some traditional food, but with a modern twist. And that's a staple food of shepherds, to be honest, polenta with cheese. As you can see, looks much fancier, tastes a lot. I mean, to me, it doesn't taste that different. It's just the plating that's fancier. And 𝗊𝗁𝗍 sausage. 𝗊𝗁𝗍 sausage are just made from lamb meat. And they're absolutely delicious. You can either put, typically eaten if put in bread. Here, just eaten with some greens. I don't remember. I do remember that it tasted something like grass, but I do not remember the name of the plant. And to spend the night, we don't have a particular spot that we prefer in Sibiu, just because it's home to so many different beautiful guest houses. It can range from looking like this on the inside or like this, like a traditional Saxon inner courtyard. These are frescoes, hundreds-of-year-old frescoes that can be found inside your room. So it really depends. Sibiu is very diverse, so you won't be bored in the city. And after spending day 10 in Sibiu, it's time to go back home to Bucharest. And on your last day, you are crossing from Transylvania back to Wallachia down Transfăgărășan Road, which Top Gear has mentioned, and it's one of the most beautiful roads in the world. It was built during communism, just as a way to facilitate crossing the mountains. But before we're going down Transfăgărășan, we will also stop and visit 𝗀𝗃𝗃 Monastery, which is a Cistercian, the more eastern Cistercian church in Europe. It was built in the 12th century and later on left in the 15th century. There are lots and lots of legends tied to this particular church. It doesn't look I mean, it's still in use today, but it doesn't look like the original building. And this church has inspired the movie The Nun. It was the horror movie, I think, of 2019. I'm gonna make a confession here. I am not a fan of horror movies, so I have not seen this movie, but I know that it's a script from the legends related to 𝗪𝗧 Monastery. So the movie was filmed in Romania, here at this church, and also in Corvin's castle. If you've watched it, please let me know. I will try to make an effort to watch it someday. I know I'm not gonna like it because I do not particularly enjoy ghost stories, but I will do it. I will do it. And this is the story. This is a photo of the cemetery of the monastery, which I decided to share because this is where all the monks, or the Cistercian monks, are said to be buried. And the one legend that I will mention before we stop the tour is that the monks here only lived until 35 to 40. And that's why they say the church is haunted. It was haunted by them. Some people believe that there are paranormal phenomena going on in this location. And the reason for which they died when they were 35 or 40 is because they had a very, very abstinent lifestyle. They would always sleep 3 hours in a row, then wake up for a religious celebration. They would eat cheese, chestnuts, and just boiled leaves. And some people do mention them drawing their strength only from wine. I don't know, maybe they would only drink the wine that they produced there, no water, and that gave them a much, much shorter life. Back to 𝗏𝗏𝗀 after we leave 𝗪𝗧. 𝗪𝗧 Monastery is very close to Sibiu, and it's on our way to 𝗏𝗏𝗀 and back to Bucharest. 𝗏𝗏𝗀 Road, one of the most winding roads in Romania, done with a lot of sacrifice. I'm covering 𝗏𝗏𝗀 and a lot of other virtual tours, as well as Vlad, so I'm not going to mention all of its story here, but it's a road trip to remember. So once you are here on top, what you see from above is Sibiu down in the valley and all the winding curves of the road. Two different images, one to see how it looks in September, so in autumn, very different colors, and one to see how it looks in July. So you see that alpine panoramic views and snow still on the mountain. These are the highest mountains in Romania, which have snow all throughout the year, unless it's a very, very hot summer. But we have been there during summertime, and it snowed in August. So weather is very changing, very moody. Shepherds are often found in here. And our favorite lunch spot is up on 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗀 Lake. This is a photo with local trout prepared traditional style with garlic, polenta, and lemon. The trout is sourced from nearby. So we always stop for lunch at 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗀 Lake at the guest house found here on top of the mountains before we go back to Bucharest. The drive from Sibiu to Bucharest is 5 hours, and that's only because we take 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗀 Road. However, we do take our time to make stops for meals. So driving down 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗀 usually takes the whole day. On our way back to Bucharest, we also might encounter some of our favorite pets, and that's the brown bear, which it's actually used to people there. So they'll just come out, try to see if people will feed him or not, and 𝗏𝗏𝗀 waterfall. And of course, I know Vlad talked about 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗀. I'm not going to cover 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗀 here. It's one of our favorite desserts, and Flying to Nest has had it here in Romania every day of their trip, also in 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗀 Lake. But I do have a challenge for you. So Vlad is going to share the details of this challenge. We want to give a book to the person that will share with us the best version of this song. So because they had 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗀 every day of their stay here in Romania, we have decided to do a 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗀 song at the end, which we have recorded. I don't know why we chose that jingle, but we did. if you want me to play it again. Okay, so Vlad told me that it's not streaming properly, but I will share it with you in a link. Oh, okay, he told me that it's true, it was good. So yeah, if you want to participate into our giveaway, I'm not going to share this recording with anyone else. It's just between me and you, and we will choose the best singer of this 𝗶𝗶𝗚 song. We're trying to make this song viral so that a lot more people know about 𝗶𝗶𝗚 in the future. So do help us out, please. And on Transfăgărășani, we also find 𝗲𝗏𝗏 Dam and 𝗲𝗏𝗏 Lake, one of the biggest dams in the country. It's all artificially done. And this is a view of the lake. When it was done, they had to submerge an entire village. And when we finally arrive in Bucharest, we are going to have a farewell dinner to celebrate your Untouched tour and to go over all of the amazing memories that we hope you had made, and maybe welcome you to Romania on a different occasion. The restaurant that we chose is called 𝗏𝗏𝗏, but the restaurants can vary. So this is where the Untouched Romania finishes. When we arrive in Bucharest, you can either choose to get a late flight, fly back home, or just spend the night in Bucharest to explore the city a little bit more. We are flexible into working towards your needs. But I was Georgiana, and thank you so much for watching our virtual tour. I am so sorry if I have outstayed the time allocated for this tour, but as you can see, there's a lot of stuff to share about Romania. So really thankful that you have stayed with me until the end. Now we are going to go into our live Q&A, and I'm going to invite Vlad next to me. And of course, if you have any questions about our tour, I would be more than happy to answer them. As I've said, this tour is also a physical tour of ours. I have shared the group tour dates here for 2021 and 2022. I know we are forcing the situation with 2021. Most of the news say that Romania will be, not Romania, the Europe will start opening easily starting May. We don't know. We hope that it will. Last year, for example, domestic travel was possible. All of the accommodations were open. So we are hoping to do this tour in 2021 as well. If you have had the vaccine, I don't see any issue to not be able to travel in 2021.
Hi, everyone. I'm slowly joining in here and taking care of this technical stuff in the meantime. So please do let us know if you have any questions, if you're interested in anything in particular, or you want to find out more about anything we discussed, and we'll be happy to answer any of your questions. I did share the link of the book that will be receiving your applications for contests. So just drop us a line on Facebook or Instagram or email. And we just want to make things a little bit more interactive. So this time we won't necessarily go for a quiz, but we'll do for like a little song contest around our favorite dessert and most of the people that visit Romania's favorite dessert.
Well, hopefully, Jerry, you'll be able to make it to Romania. Do let us know if you have any questions for when you come in. And please, if you want to, just say hi or just ask something, do unmute yourself, do share your video. We would love to know you. You're most welcome, Barbara. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for your words of appreciation.
I also just dropped in some of our next free virtual tours. So if you guys want to register, it's a good time. So we'll send some reminders ahead of the time, and we'll be focusing on Easter traditions in Romania, because although Orthodox Easter here is on a different time frame than the Catholic one, we want to share it around the Catholic Easter so it can be seen as by as many people as possible. If you have any other ideas of what you would like to hear about Romania, the surroundings, and anything else, we'll be happy to receive them as well.
One thing that I did not mention, our group tours do include pretty much everything. So the price includes transportation, accommodation, breakfast every day, all of the activities that we've mentioned, private guide, and everything else apart from lunches and dinners. We do travel in small groups, as I've said, 6 people only. We do roommate match if you want to travel by yourself. So yeah, if you're curious to know more about these tours, the other group tours that we do drop us a line. Christina, if you wanna send us a tip, I have shared here in the main screen several ways to do so. You can use PayPal, you can use Revolut if you're in Europe. Or Patreon. Yes, we have recently started our Patreon account where we like to create a community around people interested in Romania and also offer special benefits for this community. Vlad will share you the link towards our Patreon and where you can find more information about what we do and the tiers that we have available. So Judith, you will have to exchange euros when you arrive in Romania. Shops do not accept euros as their currency. PayPal is asking for an email address. Yes, my
I'll write it down.
Yeah, Vlad will write it down. It normally should have worked just by putting /Georgie28, but Vlad will share my email address.
Sure.
Yeah. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Do let us know if you have any other questions. I will, as Vlad have mentioned, we will have another tour at the end of this month, the Eastern Tradition one. And next week, I will also release future virtual tours from April, May, and June. And of course, the interactive tour of 𝗀𝗵𝘁𝗀𝗀 Castle, which we're hoping to come out in April, if everything goes according to plan, that I'm really excited to share with all of you. We also have 2 other interactive tours, that's Brașov and 𝗤 𝗫𝗁𝗏. Paul, thank you so much for joining us tonight. So we have other interactive tours. The interactive tours are different in the sense that it's not a slideshow presentation. You are literally virtually walking through the cities with your guide, either me or Vlad. So it's an in-person and it's interactive because you get to decide the direction in which the tour go. So from time to time, you will be asked, where do you want to move on from here, and given options. Thank you so much, Christina. It's actually you guys that keep us moving, that keep us working so hard and providing quality tours for everyone to keep remembering Romania, to be curious about it, and to discover more. So we wouldn't do this without your support. So thank you so much for all the appreciations.
It was really nice to have everyone today. I just sent a few more links and some more information about what we discussed today to wrap this up. So also, the book is really interesting. The book that we're offering is actually a very unusual one. I don't think a lot of people heard about it. It's about the travels in early 20th century. And we discussed today that a lot of people actually have origins traced back to Romania and roots from here. So this is a traveler that was engaged in World War II, and he actually in World War I, and he spent his time walking all the way from Western Europe to Eastern Europe to the gates of Constantinople, what we know today as Istanbul. And the second volume of this book is his journey from Hungary to Romania, Serbia, on the Danube borders. And it really showcases a lifestyle that a lot of countries lost, but we can still see today in some of the villages of Romania. So hopefully this will inspire you and will boost you with some energy for next travels and for sustainable and authentic travel.
Don't forget the 𝗶𝗏 song.
Don't forget it. We're really eager to get that and to choose a winner. And we'll send the book for free to whoever does the best impersonation.
Even though you will be watching a recording of this tour, you can still send us your impersonation. We will keep this open for a few more days. So, 𝗶𝗶𝗶𝗶𝗶𝗶𝗏, 𝗶𝗶𝗶𝗶𝗶𝗶𝗏, 𝗶𝗶𝗶𝗶𝗶𝗶. Oh, sorry. Hope you guys are having fun with us as well. So I hope to see you again on our future virtual tour. And if you do not have any other questions, I would like to stop the tour now and hope you have an amazing Saturday wherever you are. So thank you again for joining us, and don't forget about 𝗶𝗏.
Bye.